Scripture reading is taken from Hebrews, the 12th chapter, verses 1 through 3. William Barclay said that this is a well-nigh perfect summary of the Christian life. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and the perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. Consider him who endured such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or lose heart. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
In John, when Jesus called his disciples, he said to them, "You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, that you should go forth and bear much fruit." Henry Blackaby, in his devotional experience in God day by day, said this: Jesus does not follow us, we follow him. You do not invite God to join you in your activity. He invites you to become involved and builder in his direction. He does not seek our counsel about what direction we should think is suited. God already knows what is best without having to consider us. We need to think about the importance of our life in relation to God. And we chose as a title, Running the Race. And I think back when we began our ministry, I used to run the race and ran it for a long time. Now I kind of walk slowly in the race, but I keep on going. And that happens, I guess, to all of us at some time or another. Nancy and I, as he said, have spent more than 27 years involved in the ministry to outreach, both living in Congo and in Zimbabwe, and later working as consultants for the Outreach Foundation in Southern Africa for 10 years, and visiting the continent and these countries at least 2 or 3 times a year. It was amazing that we had the opportunity of living in Zimbabwe to be able to visit Madagascar. We had to work there, and it was a great privilege to travel with Pastor John Delanigo. We visited all over the island and saw the tremendous effect of the growth of the church there. As we read earlier, this church has over 7,200 churches, but only 1,500 pastors. So one of the main things that they need is to train lay people, which they call Catholics. And they had a training program that ran for 3 years. And after you completed your course of 3 years, then you began to work with a pastor. And he would have 4 or 5 different churches, and you would be sent out to one of these churches. But the exciting thing was that these catechists/evangelists were not satisfied just to minister at that one single congregation. They would go out and start other churches. So the church began to expand and grow, and it continues to grow. They have over 3 times the membership of PCUSA in a country that's the size of Texas. Pastor Ami, the president of the country, when they had his inauguration in the capital city, they always meet in their stadium. It seats about 40,000 people, and it was full. And that is televised all over the country. And I can remember one time when they were having some special thing, and I spoke with PCUSA, and a few days later traveled with our daughter and son-in-law about 100 miles away, and went into one of the shops, and one of the ladies said, "I saw you on television yesterday." And so it's much different than our country here. The country is committed to serving Jesus Christ, committed to the good of the people. Sometimes it has its ups and downs like any government does. But Pastor Amid, when he stood up and spoke there, he said, I want to challenge each one of our 26 presbyteries, which they call synods, to start at least one new church this next year. So the church there is committed in word to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, but they're also committed in deed to bringing the gospel in deed to the people who need better water, who need more schooling, who live in poverty, to raise them up out of that. So we had the privilege of working there and sharing it. And now Nancy's going to tell you about one of our other. Oh, one thing, we'd like to thank you for your contributions to the Word Conference, which will go this year, to Pastor Ella Bowles, and Nancy will share about that.
What I want to do, cool. Hello. Actually, I just said thank you. You didn't know that. As we think about grace, and I love the translation. I want to find out the lady that did it. Translation's on the front of the book of your program. Sorry, I don't have it there. But these 3 verses have become key verses for Bill and me. We first went out to Congo in 1966, and we lived in a rural area, loved the people, learned that Presbyterians dance and worship. They're excited to give. The offering may take 30 minutes. This is the same thing in Madagascar. Thank you. And we learned how vibrant the church is. We really need in the U.S. We're known as the frozen chosen, some of you know that. And we have to show that we love the Lord and that He loves us. And I like the way, I don't know what translation this is, but if you look at the front of your bulletin, let us run with patient endurance and steady and active persistence the appointed course of the race that is set before us, looking away from all that will distract. Isn't that amazing? We have too many distractions in our country. All that will distract, looking to Jesus, who is the leader and source of our faith. And I memorized all 3 of these verses and have kept them in my heart and in my mind for many, many years. When Bill and I spoke here before, I think we shared with you that we were evacuated from Congo, and in September of 1991, and Bill came in on January 1st, and he said, honey, the Lord has given me some verses for this year, 1991. Little did we know what kind of race we'd be running. But you know, we really don't know. None of us know. We don't know when the Lord will ask us to do something that we think we're not able to do, or when the Lord will call us home, or when there may be an illness that we didn't expect. But we do know that God loves us. He's with us on our race. Jesus is with us. He races with us, but He's also at the end waiting for us. And I think verse 3 has come to mean so much to me. We know Jesus is sitting at the right hand of God and on the throne of God. But verse 3 is, let us consider opposition that Jesus endured, so that, let me read it here. Consider Him who endured such hostility or opposition from sinful men, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. And I think in our country today, I have to admit I've grown weary and lost heart about some things. But we gotta keep on. The race is not over for us. So as we think about what's happening in Madagascar particularly, I would ask you to pray. Thank you that you're praying for the Turks, Dan and Elizabeth, our daughter and son-in-law. We've been there 22 years. But I would like to ask you to pray for Helivao. And have we got a picture of her up? I think we do. That's Dan and Elizabeth and Robert and Francis, our 2 grandchildren who were raised in Madagascar. These are lemurs. Go ahead. These are the baobab trees. It is the big picture, Helen. This is the poverty. This is a family. And this shows you the poverty that many people face. But they love the Lord. This is one of the churches of Jesus Christ in Madagascar. FJKM is called the church. There is Hellebound. Stop that, and that's it. Hellebound was in, this was taken on the couch where Dan and Elizabeth at their home in Madagascar, in Ivantu Seminary. And Hellebound has just redeemed those two women from Kuwait. And Pearline, I understand, came here with her on Wednesday. The one on our right, the young lady, or Hellebound's left, was one of those redeemed from human trafficking. She's the niece of Pastor Pearline. And I found that out last night when we met with Pearline in Hellebound. But let me ask you to pray for the work that Pastor Hellebound is involved in and the work that FJKM is involved in. Hellebound is one of these amazing people that God is using in Madagascar. And Bill and I had the privilege, and it was a night we will never forget. She takes seminary students out because there are a lot of prostitutes in the capital of Madagascar. I don't know if there are 2 million or 3 million in the capital. They don't do well on statistics, but it's a large city. And unfortunately, with poverty comes prostitution. And so Hellebound takes some of the seminary students and the missionaries when we're visiting out at night. And of course, the prostitutes are women of the night, so we're out at night. And one of the churches, one of the FJKM churches, is open downtown. And we talk to some of these prostitutes and women of the night who want to change their lives. They all know Hellebound, and they wait for her to come once a week, whichever church it is. And many of them come and ask for forgiveness of sins. But I was sharing with Pastor Lucas that I'll never forget. We speak French, and I don't, as I said, I don't speak Malagasy, but one of the women came up and grabbed me. She'd been drinking, but she grabbed me. I didn't know what was going to happen. But she said, "Donne-moi to dry, give me work." And I couldn't give her work, but I said, "I'm with Pastor Hellebound, and we'll go to the church and we'll pray for you." And we'll pray. And I asked her, I said, "Do you know Jesus Christ?" She said, "Yes." And Hellebound would pray. We came into the church. There were probably 20 altogether women that had come in. Hellebound prayed for them, talked to them, "Are you ready to change your life?" And yes, they were. And then she'd say, "Okay, we're going to look for a job for you." But she works with young girls. This country is poor, very poor, one of the 10 poorest in the world. But she works with young girls who many times don't have a chance for much education. But she teaches them trades so that they will not have to do what some of their mothers have had to do, to go to the streets in order to get money to feed the family. But Pastor Hellebound is incredible. Her work with human trafficking. Some of you may know Jill Cohen. I know you pray for Jill Cohen and Lifeboat Project. That's a wonderful project. But Hellebound and Jill have become good friends now because of the ministries that they have. But just Hellebound works with, she's called a chaplain at large. She works with those who are on the fringes of society. She also works with handicapped, with those who are mentally troubled. You name it, you find a group of people, and Hellebound will have ministered to them. And one of the other important memories I have of her is we were bringing a group. One of the things we did with the Outreach Foundation was to bring groups to Africa once we left living in the continent and we came back to Orlando. But that night we had 12 people, and the afternoon of the day that we had been out with Hellebound, but the afternoon before, there were 400 children from the inner city, poor children, that had come to eat beans and rice, hear about Jesus, sing songs that they had been taught, and hear about how much Jesus loved them. And I will never forget the little children. There was a 5-year-old who brought a baby on her back. But they all came to get beans and rice, but they also came to hear that Jesus loved them. That's pretty powerful. So I would ask you to pray for these that are working. It's a hard time in Madagascar. And as we think about the cloud of witnesses, prayer is very much a part of, I have become a prayer warrior. My mother was a prayer warrior. But the women of Africa are incredible. Sorry guys, you can't touch their prayers. It's just amazing. You all can be warriors, but these ladies. And St. Augustine said, true whole prayer is nothing but love. And so part of our journey involves prayer, praying for each other. And Richard Foster, I don't know if you've read his book on prayer, but if you haven't, you need to get it. Richard Foster is an amazing writer here in the U.S. He says, simple prayer is bringing ourselves before a loving Father. We open our hearts and make our requests. That's what you did earlier. And God wants to hear from us. He wants us. He doesn't have to hear from us. He's going on to do his work. But he wants us to be at one with him. And as we run our race, he wants us to pray for others. As we look at what the race we're running today, the one in the U.S., it's not easy. And there's a poem, and Elizabeth is one of my daughter's favorites too, by Mother Teresa, another wonderful, amazing lady. It's called Do It Anyway. You may know this poem. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and God. It never has been between you and them. I think that's a pretty powerful poem. And as I think about this passage, Jesus ran the race with joy, looking to the Lord, looking to his Father. And Princess Julian of Norwich said, the fullness of joy is to behold God in everything. So as we work on trying to make a difference in the world, whether it's here or whether it's in Africa or wherever, I know Tammy was in Madagascar for a period, and this is her beautiful dress up here. My dress actually came from somebody in Mozambique. But Christians, I don't know if you're aware, but on the continent of Africa, the Church of Jesus Christ is growing more rapidly there than on any other continent. And yet, the other side is that there is more suffering on that continent than on any other continent. But isn't it interesting? God uses suffering. We are all in the school of suffering, and we don't get away from it. Before we go to be with him, we will have suffering. If you haven't had it yet, you will. And I'm old enough now at 81 to know, sometimes I say to the Lord, why on earth, Lord, did you do that to me? Well, you know what? I realize later why I did it, or why I allowed it to happen. But as we think about our challenge, and as we run our race, our challenge is to go out and make a difference in the world, as God has made a difference in you and in me and in us. Then we are to go out and share that with others. So as you run your race, I have one more poem to share. It's called renewal, and it's by Mary Zendek and Marge Champion. You remember Marge and Gower Champion? The young people won't, but they danced, and they were in Hollywood. But it's called Renewal. They were Christians. You asked for my hands, that you could use them for your purpose. I gave them for a moment, and then withdrew, for the work was hard. You asked for my mouth to speak out against injustice. I gave you a whisper that I might not be accused. You asked for my eyes to see the pain of poverty. I closed them, for I did not want to know. You asked for my life, that you might work through me. I gave you a fractional part, that I might not have to get involved. Lord, forgive me for calculated efforts to serve you only when it is convenient to do so, only in places where it is safe to do so, only with those who make it easy to do so. Father, forgive me, renew me, and send me out as a usable instrument, that I may take seriously